Welcome back, everybody. P2 Podcast. This is going to be episode 8. And as you can see by the lonely square next to me, the other half of P2 Gaming decided that going to Florida is much more important than running this YouTube channel. So we see where your loyalties lie there, bud. But yeah, Mork has gone on spring break. He is currently in Florida. I don't know where he went in Florida. Maybe Panama, Florida. But yeah, I decided to do a podcast anyway without him. Maybe just kind of giving a overall what's going to be happening with this channel. I do want to talk about a couple tidbits of news that happened specifically in the Call of Duty scene. And that's, I mean, the podcast up until now has really been a lot of the competitive Call of Duty things, but really like the end goal for the podcast moving forward would be to talk anything and everything video games. I mean, the idea is that Mork and I have been playing video games ever since we were like born, basically. We got tattoos together. I'm P1, obviously. And he's player 2. But yeah, I mean, we want the podcast to really just be a lot of anything video game related. We're really hyped about this Call of Duty season. The idea was to give you guys as much information as we can, like going through the season, recapping all the matches each weekend and giving our predictions and just kind of have fun, friendly banter between us. But yeah, we did a video recapping this last Call of Duty tournament. If you haven't, go check it out because it's by far my favorite episode so far. I thought that it was a really cool tournament that happened a couple weekends ago. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check out our YouTube channel, subscribe, and watch that video because it's a really good one. But I feel a little lonely with the square next to me. So I did some digging and I found a good placeholder picture, if you will. Let's just take a look at this. And may I present to you, baby Mork. I'm dead. This is so funny. It's scary because it looks just like me. It looks just like me. If you saw, like, if you were to see any younger pictures of me, that's what I looked like, dude. Maybe without the fedora, but I thought that was too good not to put there. Plus, it makes me feel less lonely because I miss him. But yeah, let's get into it. Like I said, I do want to give like a channel update, giving you guys like an idea of our ideas moving forward. What kind of content do we want to produce? We want to do more than just the podcast. It's just been a lot of behind the scenes work, getting everything looking pretty decent. Doing things like merch designs. Merch will be coming soon for P2 Gaming. Again, I want to take the time to make it look good. I want it to be something that I'm proud of, something that I would be proud of wearing, or I want you guys, to be proud of repping our brand and something that makes it look really cool. I guess we'll start there for the channel update. We will continue to do the podcast every Sunday. Like I said, I know that I was on the fence on whether we would do one this week. Mork will be back at some point this week. He's planning to come back on Saturday, but if everything with the virus kind of hits the fan, he might have to come back sooner than that. But there will be a podcast next Sunday. We'll probably be talking a lot about the upcoming Call of Duty event that was scheduled to be in Dallas. We'll get into that in a minute. But to my knowledge, and as of right now, there still will be a Call of Duty event in 2 weeks. So we're definitely going to talk about all that kind of stuff, give our predictions still, give our thoughts on, the moves that need to be taken for the CDL to survive. I mean, everybody's kind of taking a hit from this coronavirus thing. I hope you guys are all being mindful and, staying safe, practice social distancing, If you're watching this podcast, chances are you're probably a nerdy gamer like me and you kind of love the idea of being quarantined in your room for a month at a time. But yeah, definitely just be mindful, be safe. There's no need to bulk buy anything. Just hope that you guys have enough toilet paper to last you until the stores restock, because the toilet paper thing is out of control. So yeah, definitely. Hopefully this will brush over. Hopefully these organizations will survive and kind of learn from this whole experience. I feel like that as sucky as some of these situations are, everybody kind of takes it as like a learning experience. They really do. And they all kind of bounce back. So, all right. Let's get into what I think this channel is going to look like in the near future. We are going to continue this podcast. Again, we might take a break in between Call of Duty, just depending on what kind of tournaments or events they have. We'll try and keep you guys up to date with any sort of news that happens. One of the things that we really want to dive into, and one of the things we want to dive into is giving you guys a little bit more of a news outlet. One of the channels that Mork and I watch on the daily is Esports Talk, and we've mentioned them in the past. I really respect them as a channel for getting really timely, really short videos out that keeps us all informed on what's going on. He does a lot of Call of Duty content. They do a lot of really just gaming content in general, competitive gaming content, or just talking about different gaming organizations. So I really admire that, and I think that's something that we could potentially look into doing in the future. I like the idea of live streaming these videos so that you can choose to either watch them on Twitch or watch a replay of it on YouTube. I think either one would work. But yeah, I really want to get into the news game. And the idea for the channel is, and I've told Mark this in the past, it's like, if we have two people running one YouTube channel, the idea is to pump out twice as much content as if you were to run it by yourself. So what that would look like is maybe Mork would start a series. He's usually pretty good at keeping up to date with what's happening, like news wise. And he's really good at giving like a lot of statistics. Or something that I've learned doing this podcast is he makes really good points most of the time. He has very good like views on what should happen in certain scenarios. So maybe he'll start a news channel. I like the idea of having multiple different series. We'll redo it together like the podcast. And when we schedule our streams together and play these different games, again, we've just been playing a lot of Call of Duty, but it's kind of cool to see like the dual webcam setup that we have going. But then, have like certain series on our channel where maybe he'll do like a news video every other day. And then I do like a setup video or like a tips and tricks kind of video series on how to set up a stream, how to, market yourself effectively as a gaming channel, how to design different graphics and things like that. So I think that would be the end goal. It's just we're still at that annoying phase of just getting all of the preliminary things out of the way, a lot of the stuff that you guys really don't see. And it's been hard because, I mean, he's in the process of switching jobs and going to school, and I have a full-time job as well. So we're trying to get that up and rolling as quickly as we can. We'd really like to start doing a lot more content rather than just the podcast. So that's kind of the plan for this YouTube channel. We also want to do, I've recently discovered a couple different YouTube channels, and it's cool to like start making content, because then you start to realize what channels you actually like, and you see how much effort all these different channels put into their videos. So like the example I have is Doug. If you've ever watched Doug on YouTube, he's a pretty big YouTuber. He absolutely hilarious. And the way he does like game reviews, or he'll do like goofy challenges. So for example, he let's just pull up his channel. Sorry, Mork, you're gonna have to go away for a minute. But yeah, he does a bunch of these goofy channels, and I like the idea of doing game reviews because we do a lot of different, or we play a lot of different types of games. But I want to add like a spin to it. I don't want to tell you guys what exactly it is yet, but I don't just want to do like a stock game review. I feel like that's something that a million different channels do. Oh, I just said Doug. Doug. I feel like a million people do a different, game reviews, and it's like, that's not really what I want to do. I don't want to give you just like a stock review, but this guy does. He does all of his game reviews in the context of like explaining it with food. And I know that sounds kind of goofy off the bat, but it's something different. I mean, Pokemon Sword and Shield, but explained with food. And he'll make the analogy of the game to like a certain food, like making a certain food or your experience with certain food. And I don't know, just like an idea like that to me is incredible. And I definitely want to do more of something like that. And he also does a bunch of these different cool challenges, like can Twitch chat fly an airplane across GTA 5? I don't know how to code Twitch chat to be able to do stuff yet. But he just does a bunch of these different cool little challenge videos, taking these kind of games to the next level for like the person that's watching it. I just think that that's a really cool idea. So I would love to do more challenge videos like that. Mork and I have a couple ideas in the works. Again, it's just going to take some time to figure out the best way to approach doing something like that. That picture, man, it gets me every time. But yeah, that's the plan for this upcoming YouTube channel. Definitely keep doing the podcast, start some different series, and then do a lot of these like videos where we do them together. And I think it would be cool to stream all of these, just because you don't really get to see a whole lot of behind the scenes in YouTube. And I think that's a main problem with content recently, is that's what people gravitated to at the early stages of YouTube. They liked the idea that it was like a regular person maybe filming with their phone. That's why people liked vlogs early on in the day. They just wanted to see what other people did in their daily life. They wanted it to be authentic and not super pre-packaged and put together. And I think that that's what we want to try and capture moving forward. I've already, like, since we've started this channel, I felt myself kind of stressing out over the quality of my content, just because it's, I don't know. I want it to look good. I want it to seem like it's packaged together, but I feel like it just loses that authenticity of it. Like, I'm a goofball. I mean, I like to say a bunch of goofy stuff, and that's just who I am. And if I try and just pre-package everything and try and edit out all of those little quirks, like, the video just becomes unauthentic. So yeah. So enough about where our channel's going forward. I think it's just going to take some time. Honestly, I think it's going to take some time to come up with these different ideas, to execute on those ideas, but it's definitely something that we've thought about, and there's no real time frame for us. That's kind of the beauty of being a content creator, is you get to make your own schedule. I just don't want you to think that this channel's only going to be Call of Duty podcast content. That might be a big portion of it for now, but 2020 is supposed to be a very big year for gaming. We've got the new generation of consoles coming out, so very excited for all that. We look forward to a lot of games coming out this year. The Last of Us is one of my all-time favorite games, so I'm pretty hyped for Last of Us 2. But we want to do more Let's Plays, but with like a little bit of a twist, because everybody posts Let's Plays all the time. So enough about this channel. Let's jump into Call of Duty, because there has been a lot of developments, and I've had a little bit of time to kind of digest what's been going on. Again, the coronavirus is affecting everybody differently. I think that, again, like for gamers, like the idea of staying in your room and either watching gaming content or playing these different games. I mean, we've just seen a surge of people playing video games and being online. So again, I don't want to, I want to choose my words carefully because this virus should be taken very seriously. And it's one of those where it's like we laugh at the memes, yes, but at the same time, it is a very serious situation. But yeah, I mean, it has benefited Twitch quite a bit. It's benefited. I know the CS:GO just hit over a big amount of concurrent players. I want to say it's like over 1 million players, which is insane. That game's been around forever, and to see it finally peak over that 1 million concurrent players is it's interesting to say the least. That's reaching that kind of high point just because so many people are quarantined inside their house. But yeah, for Call of Duty, specifically the CDL, if you guys haven't been following, they have canceled all of the events, which is a bummer. We were planning on going to the Chicago event here in 4 weeks, a month maybe. And I mean, it's a bummer because it's kind of like going to a concert. I mean, it's just something different. Being around that atmosphere and seeing these guys that you see online all the time, because all of us watch all this content on YouTube or Twitch and whatnot. To see those people actually do what they do in person, there's nothing like it. Our first Call of Duty event that me and Mork went to was COD Champs for World War II. And we had been watching Call of Duty for some time before that, but after going to that event, it really kind of reignited like what we love about competitive gaming in general. So it is a bummer that they decided to cancel the events, but as of right now, they're planning on keeping the matches going online. And I think that's going to, man, I mean, as if there weren't enough question marks coming into the CDL. And if like the hype around the CDL in general was just like, we have to make this first year a banger. I mean, we have to come out and get a ridiculous amount of viewers just to prove a point that Call of Duty deserves to be at the top of esports. It's one of the most popular games in the world, but for whatever reason, it struggles with viewership on like live stream. On Twitch, it's almost always like third row down or fourth row down on Twitch. And we've always kind of struggled with viewers, but so many people play this game. So Call of Duty, when they started doing this franchising, it started upping the ante with the production value and the buy-ins and just how much money and exposure they're trying to put into this. It sucks that they have to cancel all of the events and people aren't going to get to go to their first events or their second events, whatever it may be. But I think at the same time, it's definitely going to boost viewers online. I hope that they can maybe figure something out in the future. I mean, again, it's just everything's so up in the air with this virus. I mean, to me, it would make sense to do kind of what they did in Black Ops 3, which is have a venue with no people, kind of what other people are doing, and just kind of rent out one studio space and then have all the players come in. But then it proposes the problem of like, we have to pay to get these players like traveled halfway across the country to come play these games every 2 weeks. And with all these travel bans and everything, I just don't know if that's feasible right now. But I have hopes. We'll see how this first online tournament goes. I think that that's going to propose a lot of problems for teams. As we know, the game online is very different than it plays on in LAN. And I think it's particularly bad for this game as well. I don't know exactly what causes this, but I feel like Modern Warfare, I feel like everybody knows that that's the best looking Call of Duty that we've had in a long time. And I think it just takes a lot for that game to make that connection online and keep the clarity of the game up. So I think that this game is hit particularly hard when all of these pro players are forced to play it online. I'm not good enough to probably see the difference, but at times the game does feel pretty sluggish online. And especially with Warzone dropping this week, I've seen a giant increase in like, I don't want to say lag, but like just kind of, it feels slow. It feels kind of like you're playing in molasses. I mean, there's no really good way to describe it. It's just the connection definitely is a problem for these pro teams. And We'll see how they persevere. I know that Dallas was really, really good online. I feel like Dallas, or Texas in general, I guess, is known for having really good internet. So, and I know FaZe did pretty well online. But for example, like the Huntsmen, I know most of them live in that Dallas area, Dallas Fort Worth area. But I know that Formal lives out in California, who is known to, I mean, West Coast internet just is known for not being nearly as good. So, I mean, there's just a lot that we need to look for in this next tournament. How are they going to do the casters? Are the casters going to be online? Um, yeah, it sucks, man. I mean, I would not want to be on the Call of Duty team. It's been such a rush, and I hats off to you guys. I've mentioned this before. The production quality of Call of Duty right now has been phenomenal up until now. They've done an incredible job of getting all of the visual package looking pristine. I mean, it looks very professional. And I'm sure that all of these different venues planned for months ahead of time and just rushed to make sure that these actual events were fun and entertaining and looked good and looked professional for these people to go to. So, I mean, yeah, it stinks, man. If you rented out a venue for 2 weeks from now or a month from now and it had to get canceled, I mean, now you have to switch. Now you have to figure out, okay, what's the best way for our team to play online? What's going to give us the best chance of still winning this thing? Because there's still a lot of money to be won. And for all these teams that have paid so much money to get into this league, I mean, it's just the timing of it couldn't be worse. If there was a pinnacle for bad Call of Duty timing, it would be this, man. That's funny. Yeah, people always talk about COD timing. It's just it's a crazy thing, but we all gotta have to deal with it. So yeah, I kind of want to talk about Warzone though, because Warzone did drop last week ish. Was it last weekend? See, this is why I need Mork. Mork, what do you think, bub? It dropped last weekend, dude. I don't understand what the fedora just kills me, man. It just puts it over the top. But yeah, Warzone was released, and initial impressions, it's been pretty good so far. I am a little bit upset that it's three-man teams. I know I never got into Apex super hard, but I wish they had a little bit more variety in Warzone in terms of like solos or duos. And then if you want to make a full squad 3, I guess that's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's just so much better to play if you have people to play it with. And I think that's a big mistake that a lot of these games are making nowadays with online. It's just kind of finding that good balance between, is this a good game to play if you're just hopping on by yourself? And particularly Call of Duty, because Call of Duty really wants to make their game everybody friendly, whether you're a casual player hopping on to play, whether you're trying to be really competitive with the game. They're really trying to appease everybody. And that was kind of their goal with this new game. And they made a lot of measures that a lot of people did not really agree with. But it's like, it surprised me that there was no solos or duos in Warzone. I will say, though, I like the addition of Plunder. If you have not played Plunder yet, definitely check it out, because I feel like it's a really big step forward in the Battle Royale genre. BR has only been around for a couple years now. Really, Fortnite was the one that pushed it into the forefront of gaming. And we haven't really seen a whole lot of Battle Royale like variations. We've seen a bunch of different games kind of take on the exact same look and the exact same feel as Fortnite, as what was the one in Black Ops 3? I'm blanking on it, but like all of these different games, PUBG, was it Cuisine Royale? They all feel very similar. And I feel like Plunder is one of the first kind of Battle Royale variations that we have. And it's a respawn mode, so there's not a whole lot of pressure to hide in corners. You still getting a lot of engagements. It feels like a regular pub Call of Duty match, but with that twist of adding like a BR, big map, a lot of people kinds of settings. So if you haven't played Plunder yet, definitely give it a try, because I really feel like that is a good step forward in the gaming industry as a whole, just because Battle Royale is so popular right now. I mean, Fortnite has been declining in viewers, but it's still killing it. I mean, so many people still play Fortnite. So many people stream Fortnite. And I feel like very few steps have been taken to kind of push BR into that next chapter of its life, adding like different game modes within BR. So I hope, I mean, it would be cool if Call of Duty came out with another game mode to go within that kind of battle royale. I don't think they will, just because that's very difficult to do. I feel like Plunder is a very thought out kind of game mode. I'm sure that it took them a long time to kind of theorize that, kind of come up with rules for the game and everything. But it's definitely very cool, and I feel like more people should play that, and I hope that it kind of gains the hype and traction that I think it needs. But Warzone is free to play, which is a big move on Call of Duty's part. I think it was the correct move, but it makes us feel a little bit weird, because if you bought the game for what, $60, maybe even more if you buy like the battle pass and everything. If you paid at least $60 for that game and then you end up only playing Warzone after it drops, you kind of start thinking to yourself, why did I buy this game if Warzone is free? I feel like that kind of screws a lot of players that have bought the game. And yeah, maybe they played the campaign. I haven't played the campaign yet, but I've heard it's very good. But I don't know. I mean, it leaves a weird feeling in the, for people who have actually paid for the game. But Warzone's really cool. I like it as a whole. I feel like it should have dropped a little bit sooner. Call of Duty kind of, since it releases a new game every year, and I've kind of given my opinion on that, I don't think they should do that. Since it releases a new game every year, people have kind of gotten used to the stale point in Call of Duty. And usually they try to time Call of Duty championships, like the hype up to COD champs, right at the low point of the game, so that hopefully more people will watch the leading tournaments up to Call of Duty champs and then maybe hop on to play a couple more games. But Call of Duty definitely enters like a stale point. So I think this one kind of entered a stale point a little bit sooner. Maybe people that watch competitive continue to play the game after they saw like the pros and how the pros play. Excuse me. And after they added like the pro playlist that you could play in as well with the pro rule set, I think it kind of helped that stale point be a little bit further away. But I don't know. I wanted to. I'm waiting for the day where Call of Duty comes out as a full game entirely. And then just build from that. I mean, if we start at like, if a Call of Duty comes out and it's like a 6 out of 10, and then you add a couple more things. If we add Warzone, maybe it bumps it up to a 7. Maybe you add some really good DLC, which in the past Call of Duty hasn't really released like a groundbreaking DLC that everybody starts playing again. Maybe it'll bump it up to a 7.5. It makes me think, like, what if you released like a full fledged out game where it has everything that everybody wants: league play, a good campaign, a good BR, even a BR with like a secondary game mode like Plunder. If it came out with that and it made it an 8.5 game right out of the gate, and then continue to push for more DLC content on top of that, and then ultimately make the game maybe a 9 out of 10, I feel like that would make the game a little bit more appealing to more people. And I think they need to stop doing the game every year in order to do that. In order to allocate the amount of resources needed to make a good game maybe every other year, I'd be willing to wait. I'm willing to wait longer if it's a better quality in the end. A good example of this is Red Dead. I know Red Dead got delayed at least once major time, or for like an extended period of time. And I was okay with it because Red Dead Redemption, the first one, was one of my all-time favorite games. And I was willing to wait that extra little bit just to make sure that they got everything that they wanted fleshed out of it and make it a 9 out of 10 game right out of the gate. And it was a good game. It looked incredible. So I think that Call of Duty should eventually skew that way, but the problem is they need to do it on a good game. They need to do it on a game that people are willing to play for 2 years, and that's going to be difficult for them. They're going to see a decline in people that play the game, but I think ultimately when they come out with a new one, all of us COD fans are still going to buy it. So I don't foresee it being a super huge issue, but yeah, I didn't really have much else to talk about this episode. I knew it was going to be kind of shorter. Again, Mork's going to be back on Sunday. We miss you, Mork. Come back soon. Hopefully he stays safe on his drive back. Again, be looking for new content on the channel. We're going to do our best to keep you guys informed if we're working on new videos, when to expect them. If you guys have any recommendations of what we should do, definitely let us know down in the comments below. You guys have been great. We've been growing very slowly, but pretty steadily for the most part. We're right around where I thought we would be. I mentioned this in the past, like I fully expected to upload 10 podcasts and get 5 views on each of them, and 3 of them were from me and Mork, and then maybe my dad. Like I fully expected that to happen, and we just thought we would give it a shot, but we've definitely exceeded my expectations. We want to keep doing this, man. We want to keep getting better at what we do. I feel like I'm getting better at knowing how to prepare for these different episodes, and yeah, we want to keep doing this, man. So be on the lookout for the podcast next Sunday. It'll be live streamed on twitch.tv/player2gaming. And then we'll probably be back on our regular schedule of uploading the full podcast on Monday as well. So be on the lookout for that. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Maybe I'll stream. We haven't done any solo streams yet. That's another thing I kind of wanted to talk about. It's like, yeah, we share this channel, but I think it would be cool to come out with a schedule where you know where to find us if, say, Tuesday and Thursday are going to be these streams where it's me and Mork playing a game together while the dual webcam setup. I'm still working to get his point of view so we could switch back and forth. That would be super cool if we could do that. That's definitely in the works, but I would also like to schedule times where it's like, if I want to play a game by myself, I would stream by myself. He could stream by himself. We could upload those different, make those into different videos to upload on our YouTube channel. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else to talk about. Mork, you got anything, bub? Should we just zoom him in? Oh no, come back. There it is. Let's just take one last good look at Morky. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking with me in the weirdest P2 podcast we've had yet, but we will hopefully be back to our regularly scheduled program next Sunday. Be sure and be safe, be mindful, practice social distancing, which shouldn't be very hard for a lot of you nerdy gamers. Yeah, and just be safe. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Later.